Welcome, everyone. I am Antonio T. May Taylor, and this is my official review of the movie Coming to America, which is the sequel to the 1988 blockbuster iconic movie Coming to America, starring Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. So let's get into it. Okay, the first thing you need to know about this movie, if you grew up on this movie, it is iconic and is embedded into your DNA and it helped raise you. Please do not watch this movie once. You must watch it twice. Watch it twice. Watch it twice. Watch it twice. And the reason why I say watch it twice is because the first time you watch this movie, you will be watching it from a critical viewpoint. You will be comparing it to the original that you grew up with. And it's just not fair to do that. It's just not fair. It's a different time, different era, different way to tell a story. So you must appreciate this movie for what it is in 2021. So again, watch it twice. The second time you watch this movie, you will be able to let go of everything you wanted it to be and enjoy this movie for what it is, which it is a good movie. It is. So it's meant for you to enjoy it, okay? So watch it twice, okay? Watch it twice. Trust me. Watch it twice. Watch it twice, okay? So let's get into the review because there is some good, there's some bad, and yes, there is some ugly. So we got to get into it. All right, so let's start with the good. The good first is that this movie is a family reunion of Coming to America. You will see all of your favorite characters. You see Akeem, you see Lisa, you see Saul, you see Clarence, you see Randy Watson, you see Paul Bates as Oha. You see Mr. McDowell. Every character that you loved, you will see in this movie. Except there was one character that was definitely missing, and that was no Allison Dean. And if you know, in the first movie, Allison Dean played Patrice McDowell, who was the sister of Lisa McDowell. She's the only one that you do not see. I wonder why. But besides her, you do see every character that you loved in the first movie. So it is a family reunion of sorts. And also another good thing about this movie that I really, really thought was great is that the extraordinary cast that they brought on, that I call the new cast. I think Jermaine Fowler did an amazing job as Lavelle. Then you had Leslie Jones as Mary, phenomenal. Then you had Tracy Morgan as Uncle Reem. You also had new to the cast. You had Kiki Lane as Mika. You had Wesley Snipes as General Izzy, which I love that character. You had Tiana Taylor, the beautiful Tiana Taylor, as Bopata. Then you had I can't say her name, but she was Marimbi. That's the character that she played. And of course, you have Bella Murphy, who's Eddie Murphy's daughter, as Oma. So this wonderful, wonderful sequel did give us a dynamic new cast embedded in with the old cast. And I thought it was a perfect marriage. Okay, another good thing about this movie is that it does have a theme of black pride, of black excellence. So this movie is going to feel good. It's going to feel it's going to be very, very family oriented. It's going to make you get into your roots like it did with Black Panther. Kind of like that same feeling of having black pride and cultural pride from where you came from. So it's a very positive movie. It definitely lifts the spirits, and it makes you proud to be a person of color and come from the roots of Africa. So yes, that is another very, very positive part of this movie. Just the extreme pride it gives you for being an African American, or even just a what you would call an African. So I love that. I love that authenticity that they added to this movie. Another great thing about this movie is the flow of the movie is really, really good. I love the way that they tell the story. They unweave it. They go back to the old movie and they kind of show you what happened. So you, unless you live on planet Neptune, I know you've probably seen Coming to America. But just say you've been under a rock for the last 30 years and you didn't see Coming to America. To watch this movie, you would not have had to seen Coming to America to enjoy this movie and know what happened in the previous movie, because they give you everything that you need to know within this movie about where we are now 30 years later. So that's a great, another great thing about this movie. the way they tell the story and the way it lays out and the way it flows. I really appreciate it. The outstanding thing about this movie, I think, was the music, the soundtrack. They really returned to the essence of the original movie, and all of those great songs that we love, they were remixed and repackaged and just kind of like, updated to fit this time. And I really enjoyed the music in this movie, the updated music and the new music I really enjoyed in it. So that's another plus for this movie, is that the soundtrack and the score was amazing. Another thing about this movie that I think was brilliant was the fact that Eddie Murphy really allowed everyone in this movie to really be their authentic selves. Like Leslie Jones, she didn't have to switch it up. She was just Leslie Jones that we love. Tracy Morgan, he didn't have to switch it up. He was just the Tracy Morgan that we've all grown up to love. So he allowed everyone to play their character, but he also allowed them to be themselves in this movie. And the true standout in this movie is Jermaine Fowler, in my opinion. He really just came onto the scene as a newcomer, but he's really showing that he really has some acting chops, and he's got a great career ahead of him. He was a very, very likable character. Through the whole movie, you rooted for him, and it was just good to see this young man as a new character step up to this monuments role and just really crush it. Another great thing about this movie I love is the return of Wesley Snipes, who we all know is a brilliant actor. He has so much versatility, but it's just good to see him in a character that we know is going to win, that people are going to love, and he really shined throughout this movie. So it was great to see Wesley Snipes back. So that's the good. The bad. Okay, the bad is this sequel had a lot of plot holes. A lot of plot holes. And I'll only really get into one of the plot holes that wasn't really explained. But it wasn't really explained why, if you find out that you have a heir to the throne and you didn't know it for 30 years, and the fact that you are a king of Zamunda, your own kingdom, it never explained why they were so willing to accept the fact that there was what they call a bastard child. Okay, a bastard child in America. But there was no reference to a DNA test or anything like that. Maybe that would have added too much depth to the script, but they kind of did not explain that. Another thing they didn't explain why, like I mentioned before, there was no Allison Dean in this movie. What happened to Lisa's sister, Patrice McDowell? They kind of graced over that. They didn't explain it. Also, there was no tribute to Prince Akeem's mom, who was not in this movie because unfortunately she died, of course, but there was no really tribute or explanation for her absence, like no real tribute. I felt like that was another plot hole that kind of needed to be explained or just, dug into deeper, because she was an important element in that first movie, and we knew she meant a lot to Prince Akeem. So that was kind of really glazed over. There were other really plot holes in this movie, but I don't think it was anything that was too bad to where it'll take you off. Another bad thing about this movie is that I felt like they waited way too long to do this movie again. I think if they would have done it in the 90s, that it would have had a much greater impact. I think Arsenio and Eddie are at an older age, and I just think that they would have been a little bit more fresher, a little bit more on point if this movie had been done in the 90s. So that's another bad part. So that's the bad. Okay, so let's get into the ugly. Okay, the first ugly is this. They are trying too hard to make us laugh. The jokes do not come with ease. They do not come natural. They are forced. The comedy and the jokes are forced. You can tell that they are written in and they are there to try to give us a laugh. In the previous film, Coming to America, what was so great about it was that it was us. It was who we are as black people. It was natural. It was not forced on us to laugh. So the jokes that were written in this movie were very, very, very forced. And I just feel that they could have went in. It could have flowed better and it could have been more natural. Another ugly is I really feel like in the writing of the film, they could have really went in another direction. I mean, this is 2021, so why not have Eddie Murphy's oldest daughter be the one that goes to America to find her king, and let that be the plot. I mean, this is 2021 where women are empowered. So I just didn't see why they went in the direction of this bastard son, adding that into the script when we know very well, if you are a fan of Coming to America, you know definitely that night that they said happened, it did not happen. They went to that club and they did not find anything. Nothing happened. Nothing transpired. They kind of put that, they kind of inserted that storyline into there. And it was very uncomfortable how they inserted that storyline because for Prince Akeem's character to be with a woman that he didn't want to be with and then be drugged by her, and then she gets him, then she gets pregnant by him. I mean, that storyline just does not make sense to who Prince Akeem's character is. It just made no sense. I don't understand why they just couldn't go the route of let's send the eldest daughter to Queens to find her king. I mean, that would have made better sense. And to me, that's 2020 pop culture. That's 2021 pop culture. So that would have made more sense to me than forcing that storyline. And that's what makes this movie very, very, very ugly, is because that storyline does not make any sense. However, do they make it work? They do make it work. But to the people who know and grew up on Coming to America, that plot line just does not fit at all. And it's very uncomfortable throughout the whole movie. You kind of sit with that throughout the whole movie and you're kind of uncomfortable in it. But again, once you get past the first viewing of this movie, you go to the second viewing and you watch it for the second time, you really do enjoy the magic of this movie. I do think that it will ultimately be another classic. I think it is a good adage to this franchise, and I do think that it could possibly lead to a part 3. We'll see. And that's another thing that I want to say. The ugly is that this movie came out during the pandemic, and it will not be seen in theaters. Not everybody has Amazon Prime. So a lot of people who would normally go out to the movies to see this movie, they're not going to get to see this unless they get a Prime membership. So I think that's another ugly part. This film is definitely meant to be seen in the theaters, and seeing it at home just does not give it really the same feel that I know that Eddie and the producers wanted, or the director, Craig Brewer, wanted for this movie. To be on small screens and not the big screen. So you definitely missed that element of this movie being on the big screen. You definitely missed that element. So that's another ugly. But overall, Coming to America 2, I give it 2 thumbs up. I think it's good for the culture. I think it's a good, sweet sequel. I think you'll enjoy it. If you grew up on it, this is a treat for you. It was a treat for me. And I think this movie is really going to stand the test of time. So Coming to America, I give it a thumbs up. Eddie Murphy, great job. Arsenio Hall, great job. Craig Brewer, great job. And I just welcome this into the archive of great black movies. I can't wait to watch Coming to America and Coming to America 2 back to back. That's what I'm on my way to do now. Enjoy, y'all. This is my official review of Coming to America. 2 thumbs up. Yeah. See y'all next time.